all the decadent horrors I have seen pale in comparison to that final, crowning thing. I could not look, nor could I look away.
And welcome back to more Darkest Dungeon. This is episode 13, week 27, getting underway. Alright, so last week, as our activity log notes, we were successful in defeating the Sodden crew in the cove, even though the activity log says drowned crew. The first version of the drowned crew is called the Sodden crew, and we're picking it up here in the very next week to head into the Weald for the first boss there, the Wizened Hag. So first and foremost, sorry if I sound kind of congested and groggy. I'm coming down with something, had to take some cold medication, so I'm a bit stuffed up and sniffly. Seems like every time I make one of these game videos, at some point along the way I get sick, and we end up with, what did I call it during Dragon Age 2? The Mucinex voiceover sessions or something like that. So, at any rate, that's where we are in this game's progress, and so sorry for the congested voiceover. And second, I don't know if you've noticed, but as for the town event this week, it's the town is a buzz, and I know we've seen that probably several times by now. If you don't trigger some other town event like Silence in the Crypts or one of the other things that you go after and acquire by doing a certain quest, then you're going to keep getting that the town is a buzz event. And it's, like I mentioned the first time we saw it, it's the game's way of kind of trying to push you into the courtyard, you know, the Crimson Court DLC area, to deal with that. So don't worry about it. Once we're through the Weald, we're going to go ahead and go there and see what all the insects and buzzing is about. But for now, just understand that if there is no other town event for any other reason, that's just going to default until we finally go into the courtyard and investigate. Alright, so moving on to our task at hand, the Wizened Hag, heading into the Weald. Kind of an unconventional party composition. We have our customary leapfrogging crusaders in the back two ranks. But what is this in the front two ranks, Devatron? Leapfrogging shield breakers? Man, look out! So yeah, similar to our Siren setup, we're having to use just the two Crusaders for heals and stress heals. And as we saw in that run, that can get a little dicey. But the good news is, unlike our Siren setup, having two shield breakers in addition to the two Crusaders is just a metric ton of damage. Okay, I mean, this is going to be lights out, you know. I mean, if we take a lot of damage or stress damage, it's going to get a little dicey and the pace is going to slow down. But unless and until that happens, we are going to be absolutely mowing through enemies with this group. Now, in case you were worried about it, yes, we're taking shield breakers into a boss dungeon, but there's no risk that we're going to get a shield breaker flashback nightmare sequence. Why? Well, we've already done the first three, recall, and the fourth and the fifth don't occur until you're in veteran level dungeons. Okay, so because we're in an apprentice level dungeon, there's no concern or worry that we're going to get one of those flashbacks, so we're going to be okay there. So as for the rest, we dropped off a few heroes to remove negative quirks, heal some diseases. We tried to upgrade these guys' armor, weapons, and skills. Getting some provisioning, maybe a little extra food to make up for the healing. Yeah, we're ready, Devatron. Let's go.
I had collected many rare and elusive volumes on ancient herbal properties, and was set to enjoy several weeks immersed in comfortable study. My work was interrupted, however, by a singularly striking young woman who insisted on repeated calls to the house.
There is method in the wild corruption here. It bears a form both wretched and malevolent.
All right, here we go into the Weald, Devatron. Chasing down the Wizened Hag.
Festering fear consumes the mind. Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles. Formation is broken. Maintain the offensive. Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
All right, so fun stuff there. You can see that the shield breakers, depending on which ability they're using, might be leapfrogging forward with Pierce or backwards with Impale, which is that area effect, hit all 4 ranks and apply a blight attack. Now it's a little tricky to blight enemies in the Weald because they have pretty high blight resistance, but they tend to land it often enough, and the area effect damage is just too good to turn down.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all. Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
Oh yeah, big time damage, Devatron. Admittedly, we got a surprise round there, which was lucky. But yeah, I mean, the second shield breaker ended up rolling first, so we ended up using Pierce instead of Impale, and it didn't matter. We just, demolished everything. So that's kind of how this group's gonna roll.
Nature herself, a victim to the spreading corruption, malformed with misintent. The light, the promise of safety. Another abomination cleansed from our lands. Back to the pit. The way is lit. The path is clear.
We require only the strength to follow it.
Begone, fiend!
All right, now map-wise, we got lucky and found a map, which provided us with a little bit of scouting, not for the whole dungeon, but for some of it, and that's always really helpful. And here, using holy water on the troubling effigy awards a positive quirk. Cove Explorer. Not great, but not bad. Now, boss location-wise, there are 2 possible rooms the Wizened Hag could be in. They're not too far from each other. If we guess wrong and have to backtrack, it won't be the end of the world. But as we've learned from our adventures in the Warrens and the Cove, we would much prefer to just get a lucky scouting check and figure out where she is ahead of time, so we don't have to stress about time and resources and losing camping buffs, etc.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Executed with impunity. Another one falls.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Okay, so a little bit unnecessary to waste a holy water interacting with the pristine fountain in order to cure 2 stress, but hey, we got it, we're feeling good, so we did it.
decimated.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
Lucky scouting check, Devatron, and a critical check. Secret room revealed. Big time.
A spark without kindling is a goal without hope.
Alright, so because nobody has any stress damage, we didn't need to eat that much food. We have tons of it anyway. This group is just absolutely insane. They're mowing through this dungeon. Camping skill-wise, we prevented a nighttime ambush with one of the Crusaders. And then both of the shield breakers are going to increase their protection and max hit points with their snakeskin ability. And then I have 2 points left over, and there's nothing really meaningful to spend it on, so I think I give one of the shield breakers Adder's Embrace, which increases blight skill chance and blight resistance, but again, that's not really all that important. Okay, so fun fact. Notice where the boss is. It's in the bottom of the 2 possible rooms. But if you think about the party coming into that crossroads, if you will, which way would they have had to turn? It would have been right. So, thus far in our campaign, always go left has just always been incorrect. So we'll have to keep track of that moving forward and see if going left is ever the right move. And coming up here, we're going to slip into the secret room. Now, I don't have a key, so I don't even bother snuffing the torch out.
Wealth beyond measure, awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike. In Radiance, may we find victory.
Eradicated. Well struck. These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
And you may have noticed there, because of the order of initiative and whatnot, the Crusaders kept pushing ahead, and one of the shield breakers got all the way pushed back. And then on its turn, it had no abilities active that it could use in the 4th slot. But again, big deal. We just absolutely smashed through it, and it wasn't a problem.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
All right, here we are. We've made it to the boss. Really easy run. Nothing gave us any amount of pause. This group is just absolute shock and awe, Devatron. Let's get to it. The Wizened Hag.
twisted and maniacal. A slathering testament to the powers of corruption. A devastating blow. Leave her corpse to rot, consumed by the spores she spawned.
What? Are you kidding me, Devatron? Fight over. Boss down. We're done. Close call, Devatron. Alright, so here we go with our haul. The Sacred Scroll really is a great Vestal trinket. I was glad to see that it was offered as a reward because I use it all the time on my Vestals. Pretty good gold, over 12,000. Decent amount of heirlooms. Going to be getting 4 XP for everybody. And quirk-wise, Vadaville, Warren's Explorer, big deal. Misses the Spot is really bad. We have to get rid of that. And then Armor Tinker for Turnabutt. Meh. Darkest Dungeon. Fastest boss kill ever, Devatron. What is going on? Find out more in the next episode.